welcome all the participants. What I'm seeing that about 214 participants they joined. I think it is the biggest program which we are organizing. So I first of all thank.
Dr. Saravanan is from manager. Dr. Saravanan is Director Extension. So he has also
good morning, sir. So good morning, sir. I am Dr. Saravanan Raj. I am Director for Agriculture Extension, sir. Very happy to meet you, sir. And thank you for organizing collaborative training program, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Please go ahead, sir. Yes, sir.
And I welcome all the participants, and I thank Manoj our that who was given this responsibility to us to organize training program. And from our director, Dr. Atri was given the responsibility, and I think he has taken the responsibility very well. So today we are going to start this three-day training program on a very unique, that crop. Most of you must be aware about the mushroom. Mushroom, of course, not very popular in our country, but certainly it is one of the most promising commodity in the agriculture sector, particularly if you see the government plan and the government mission to double the farmer income. And even during this period when the world is facing this COVID, certainly I think we are looking toward the food which can really boost our immunity. And mushroom, I think, is the most promising community that fits very well. So, friends, this is a three days training program, and I'm very sure I was just listening to Dr. Atri was telling that yes, 3 days training program is not sufficient. Certainly, I also agree with him that this 3 days training program is absolutely not sufficient because this is a little bit high-tech type of agriculture. It is not the traditional agriculture. And where the practical knowledge is very, very important, particularly because the training, the program, the title of the training program is Entrepreneurship Development in Mushroom Cultivation. When you want to become an entrepreneur, you must have the knowledge. No doubt you can also, that engage some technical persons, experts. There is no doubt in that, but certainly you should have the knowledge, practical knowledge, and it is very important that you should have the practical knowledge about the mushroom. But under the present circumstances, certainly it is not possible to impart practical training. But certainly, as and when the situation will be normal, I invite all of you to come to Directorate of Mushroom Research. That is the only institute in the country which was established in 1983. Well, friends, the mushroom, this research started in our country somewhere in 1961 when a scheme was launched here, development of mushroom cultivation in HP state. It was started with the Indian Council of Agriculture Research in collaboration with the State Agriculture Department. And in the initial year, some work was done, and just thereafter, some three FAO experts they visited our country. They largely help us to develop infrastructure facilities and to create basic infrastructure that was necessary for the this mushroom research. Largely at that time, we were focusing on the button mushroom. Even today, when I will present the data, you will also realize that still we are running after a mushroom that is basically temperate mushroom. It is a little bit ridiculous that we are living in a country that is enjoying this tropical to subtropical climate, whereas we are still, giving maximum emphasis. We are putting our maximum resources on a mushroom that is actually not suitable to our country, considering that seasonal cultivation. Of course, if you are considering that controlled environment conditions, we can certainly cultivate any mushroom at any temperature. That is not the problem. But when you want to target a poor farmer who cannot afford this costly infrastructure, then certainly he has to go for the seasonal cultivation. And there we have to promote the mushroom species which are tropical to subtropical in nature. But still, we are, still focusing on button mushroom. That is one part of the story. Then thereafter, some mushroom units, 5-6 mushroom big units, they were established somewhere in 1968 to 1970 in Himachal Pradesh, in Jammu and Kashmir, and one adjoining to Himachal Pradesh in Ambala near Chandigarh. And of course, the technology which was there at that time, it was not indigenous technology, but it was imported. All the technology that was imported technology was used in these units. And in 1971, then a coordinated scheme on mushroom research started in country, and with the 3-4 centers. Thereafter, in 1983, when the government realized that yes, mushroom is an important community, they took the decision to open one independent institute that should work on mushrooms. And this NCMRT, National Center for Mushroom Research and Training, was established in 1983. It was the initial name of this institute, and later on in 1997, it was renamed as NRC, National Research Center for Mushroom. And in the year presently, this is the only institute in the country that is looking after the research, looking after the basic and applied research on all kinds of mushroom in the country. Basic mandate, of course, that basic and applied research. And second is that coordination with the ACRIP centers. And we are having 32 ACRIP centers. They are situated in 27 states of the country. Almost in every state, you will find one or other your ACRIP center where you can visit. Depending upon your location, you can visit these centers and you can get some practical knowledge. You can get some technical advice, because in all these ACRIP centers, one or two scientists are posted there and they are working on mushroom. They are producing spawns. You can also get seed that is known as spawn from these centers. So friends, all the detail will be discussed regarding the cultivation of different mushrooms. Of course, the commercial cultivated mushroom we are going to touch, and thereafter some medicinal mushroom, maybe Ganoderma, maybe this your cordyceps, we are going to discuss with you. But again, I would like to emphasize the 3 days, they are not sufficient. If you think that within these 3 days, you will develop your skills to start, that mushroom cultivation, maybe it may not be very much possible, and you may face some difficulties. Certainly, you will require some more knowledge. For that, you have to contact our ACRIP center or DMR Solar. And friends, why I was saying that this is a really very promising crop, because if you look toward the nature of the crop, how it is grown, because mushroom cultivation is basically a landless venture. We doesn't require much land for the cultivation of this mushroom. And it is a very unique example where we go for the vertical cultivation and sky is the limit. Because when we're talking that it is a vertical cultivation, yes, sky is the limit. You can go as high as you wish, but only that cost factors are there, because labor, the moment you go up and up, the moment you put a story after another story, certainly a labor cost will increase. So that is one, but certainly it is a landless venture, and the land that is already, it is that any land which is not suitable for the agriculture, that can be used for the mushroom cultivation. And second is employment, that it is a labor intensive industry. So presently our country is facing this unemployment problem. And certainly by growing mushrooms, we can not only become self-dependent, but certainly we can give employment to hundreds of person. So that is another advantage of mushroom. And then mushroom can convert this waste into wealth. India is producing huge quantity of waste. We are producing more than 700 to 800 million tons of agriculture waste. I'm talking only about the agriculture waste. If we talk about the forestry waste also, then it is more than 1500 million tons. So that's that waste. If you talk about the agriculture waste, largely it remains unutilized. So we have the
Sir, we are not getting your voice, sir. Sir, audio.
I think some technical issues, sir. Yeah, sir is back.
Just a minute, please. Some internet problem is there.
आवाज आ रही है सर?
आवाज आ रही है? आपको आ रही है?
आ रही है।
अभी आ रहा है।
बाकी लोगों को
बीच में चली गई थी सर, अभी आ रही।
हाँ, I'm audible.
ऑडिबल सर।
So friends,
audible. सर आप अपना लेक्चर भी स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं।
हाँ, मैं करूँगा स्टार्ट, कोई बात नहीं। If you are in hurry, then no problem. I can finish my lecture also.
No, क्योंकि सर 10 to 10:30 है ना आपका?
10 to 10:30. I will finish. No problem. Don't worry.
Okay, sir.
Then within 1 or 2 minutes, I will close opening remarks, and thereafter we'll start. Then, okay, friends, particularly if you see, India is basically about 60% population of our country that depends upon the livelihood they are depending upon the agriculture. More than 60% population. And if we see that towards the villages where that women they are not having much activities to do, but mushroom is an activity where we can provide opportunity for the empowerment of the rural women, because mushroom is such activity. It is an indoor activity, and it is not that some particular time or particular season is there for the mushroom cultivation. Mushroom can be cultivated at any time, in any season, and because some controlled environment is required a little bit, or the prevailing temperature, but there are different mushroom, they can be cultivated during the different seasons. So round the year, even if anyone think to cultivate mushroom round the year seasonally, yes, it is possible, because there are different mushroom, they require different temperature, they can be cultivated at the different temperatures. And ultimately, when doing all that, we are doing some activity, we are doing some entrepreneurship that is not requiring land. Otherwise, a very, very important, that factor, that is almost because per capita land is decreasing day by day, population is increasing. Then second, that we are using the waste, that is otherwise creating environmental pollution. And thirdly, we are providing ample employment opportunities. We are producing highly nutritious food. Then we are earning money, because mushroom is a highly remunerative venture, because mushroom almost we can double the money within 3 months if it is at a small scale. Even if we are starting at a very large scale, the break-even point is just 2 to 3 years. Within 2 to 3 years, we can recover our all money, and thereafter we are entering the business. We are going to be a profit earner only. And ultimately, thereafter, when the mushroom has been grown, with all these advantages, mushroom is zero waste industry. Nothing is waste. Whatsoever is left when we are producing the mushroom, whatsoever waste is produced, that is used for the agriculture crops, for the horticulture crops, as an organic manure. So nothing is waste. We are using the waste, producing highly nutritious food, and ultimately nothing is waste. So all these advantages the mushroom that is having. So I will start my lecture also, Dr. Atri, as you're requesting that I should start and I should stick to the time, so that I can finish my lecture at 11:30. So friends, I wish you all the best, and I'm sure that most of you, because more than 231 participants they are there presently at this who have joined this training program, and I think it's the largest one. And probably we will this training program will be very, very fruitful, and all will certainly draw some roadmap that how we will go for the mushroom cultivation, and almost all of you must start and should start this mushroom cultivation. So thank you very much, and all the best. And now I'm going to start the presentation. Okay.
Thank you very much, sir, for your opening remarks. Now you can start your presentation.
Dr. Atri, I'm not able to share because that is अभी शेयर का लिंक आपका एक्टिव नहीं है, Dr. Atri.
Sir, check, sir. It is there,
now,
sir.
Sir,
now,
you can share now.
Please check, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. It is there, sir.
So my slides are visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir. Yeah.
And I'm audible also.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So welcome to this first lecture that is on the mushroom production and agribusiness activity. Overall, I will give you that national and international scenario and the status of mushroom cultivation in the world as well as in our country. And I would also like to discuss the important mushrooms which are being cultivated presently in our country, and a little bit about the this nutritional value of the mushroom. So overall, I will present the overall picture of this mushroom cultivation in our country as well as in the world. So friends, mushroom is basically a fungus, and there are two types of fungi. One is macrofungi and another is microfungi. Macro means large one, and the micro means which are the microscopic structures. And according to one estimate, there are about 1.5 millions of fungi that exist on our planet. And there is another estimate, your estimate, rather, I will say, according to that estimate, about 5.1 millions of fungi they exist on this planet. And if it is 1.5 millions, then out of that, about 140,000 baby mushroom, that is the estimate. And out of that, so far, about 110,000, about out of this 1.5 millions of fungi, 110,000 fungi has been reported so far, both macro and macrofungi. And out of this, just 14,000 have been reported as mushrooms. That means they are the macrofungi, and 3,000 they are edible ones. 200 have been cultivated experimentally, and 6 are being produced on the industrial scale. So basically, mushroom is a fungus, and the simplest definition of mushroom is that mushroom is a macrofungus. That means it should be large enough. It is a macrofungus, and it should be large enough to be seen with naked eyes, and or to be picked by hands, and it grows hypogynous or epigynous. So that means hypogynous means it is growing below the ground, and epigynous means that it is growing above the ground. So mushroom is a macrofungus that is growing below the ground or above the ground, and it should be large enough to be seen with naked eyes or to be picked by hands. That is the simple definition of the mushroom. Mushrooms, all the mushrooms which are edible, they belong to the two categories. One is basidiomycetes, two classes basically. One is ascomycetes. Basically, this is the little bit description, mycological description, that all the mushroom which belong to the basidiomycetes, they are having the basidium, and all the mushroom which belong to the class ascomycetes, they have the ascus. These are the fruit-bearing structure, basically the spore-bearing structures, where the spores of the fungus, spore is a unit of propagation, very small unit. They are the this spore-bearing structures. So what type of, where the mushrooms grow? Most of the mushroom, they belong to the category of decomposers. That means they grow on the dead organic matters. Some mushrooms are there which grow as a endophytes. That means they are having the association with the plants. Their mycelium is growing, and the plants on the plants, and then they are producing the fruit bodies. And some mushrooms, they are having the association with the roots of the higher plants, and this association is a little bit, that they are having it is a mutual understanding of both this fungus and plant, and both they get benefit by this association. And it is very important. Mushroom, this fungus cannot grow without the association with the roots of the higher plants. This type, if it is a mycorrhizic type of fungus, and because the mycelium of the fungus that grows in the soil, and it absorbs water, nutrients from the soil, and it is utilizing itself also, but it's also giving some of it to the plants. Then the plants, they are going for the photosynthesis, because mushroom, the fungi, they cannot go for the photosynthesis because they are not having this chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is lacking in the mushroom. It's not present in the mushroom, but they are depending. That is why they are decomposed. They are depending for these carbohydrates on the other plants. So they are taking, the plant is going for the photosynthesis, and when it is synthesizing carbohydrates, fungus is taking this carbohydrate from the plants. So it is basically a mutual understanding of both fungus and plants, and both get benefited from this association. And among the decomposers, most of the edible fungi, they belong to this category. Of course, some mycorrhizal fungi, they are also very much edible. For example, here I have put this edible. This is one truffle. This is known as tuber. Number of species are there in tuber, and this is a truffle mushroom. It grows underground. It is having association with the roots of the higher plant. And this is some Morcula species, Boletus, Cantharilis, Lacaria, Lactarius, then Rhizopogon. These are some, mushrooms which are edible, highly very tasty mushroom, and they are having this mycorrhizae type of association with the plants. But most of the cultivated mushroom, they belong to this decomposed category. They grow on the dead organic matters, and some medicinal mushrooms, for example, this Ganoderma is very important. Gryphola is there, and then there are some mushrooms which are toxic and poisonous. For example, this Amanita species, Gyromithra is there, Clitocybe is there, Inocybe is there, even Coprinus species to some extent when it is taken with the alcohol. I will discuss in the later part. That is also poisonous. So there are different mushrooms which are also poisonous, and some mushroom, for example, this Halvella is there. They are having this toxicity, or they are toxic, and some mushroom in this Amanita category, in this Amanita genus, they are fatal, and consumption is almost that will lead to the death. So this is the mushroom. These are the different mushrooms. They are cultivated almost in 100 countries of the world, and China is the leading producer. They are producing about 36 million tons of mushroom, and presently the world of production is about 43 million tons. Japan is at number 2. It is producing 0.45 million tons, and America number 3, 0.4, and then India is standing at 6th position. We are producing about 230,000 tons of mushroom. But yes, it is of course not a very great satisfaction that we are at number 6, because population wise India is number 2 presently, and maybe shortly we will be number 1 in population. But if you see the difference between number 1 and 2, it is huge difference. Where 360 lakh tons of mushroom and where just 450,000 tons. So the difference between number 1 and 2 is very huge. Otherwise, from thereafter, from 2 to other countries, there is not much difference. Then coming to the history of the mushroom cultivation, first mushroom which was cultivated was Auricularia, Boudier mushroom. It was cultivated in China 600 AD. That means about 1400 years back. This mushroom was cultivated. Then next mushroom cultivated was this Flammulina. Take about 1100 years back again in China. Stake mushroom, world's number 1 mushroom presently. It was cultivated about 1000 years back in China. Button mushroom, the most popular in our country. It was cultivated in France in 650. Pedistra mushroom, it was cultivated in 1700 in China again. And the oyster mushroom species, it was cultivated in 1917. These are the 6 mushrooms which are very, very important as far as this commercial production is concerned. Because world over also, these are the 6 mushrooms which are contributing significantly, and the bulk of the production in the country, in the world, is coming only from the 6 mushroom species. This is how the world progressed in mushroom cultivation. The commercial mushroom production started only after World War II. And in 1960, the world production was 0.17 million tons. And initially, in the initial year, right from 1960 to almost 1985, you can see that there is linear growth, not much progress. The production was increasing, but at a very slow pace. And thereafter, some jump was there. Some enhancement was there, and the mushroom production started increasing rapidly. But thereafter, right after 2000, you can see that in the last 2 decades, there has been exponential growth in the mushroom production. And presently, the world, about 43 million tons of mushrooms are being produced in the world. And here you can see that almost about 200 times increase has been witnessed in the last 55 years in the global mushroom production. Coming to the relative contribution of different species, in 1960, button mushroom used to be the leader, and most of the bulk of the production was contributed to Agaricus bisporus. It was 78%, and the other important mushroom in 1960 was this Lanthanula. It was giving 15% contribution, and then in 1990, the contribution of button mushroom that decreased to 38%, and number 2 mushroom that emerged, Pleurotus. Different species are there, of course, in Pleurotus. Mushroom, and it contributed 24%. And number 3 was Auricularia. It gave 11% contribution, and number 4 was Lanthanula. So overall, the 6 mushroom species, Volvarilla, Flammulina, Auricularia, Pleurotus, Lanthanula, and Agaricus. Agaricus button mushroom, Lanthanula is Stake mushroom, Pleurotus is oyster mushroom, Auricularia is Boudier mushroom, and Flammulina is Vintria mushroom, and Volvarilla is Pedistra mushroom. So these 6 mushrooms, they contributed about 92% of the total mushroom production in 1990. in 2013, Stake has emerged at number 1 mushroom. Its contribution 22%, and the number 1 mushroom, that is butter mushroom, slipped to number 4. And Plotus, of course, number 2, oyster mushroom species 19%, and Auricularia number 3. So these 6 mushroom species again, Gallopera flammulina, these 6 mushroom species, they still contributed about 90% of the total mushroom production in the world in 2013. In fact, in world over, presently, about 60 mushroom species they are cultivated commercially. But these are the only 6 mushroom species which are, that bulk of the production is coming from these species. Now, in the year 2018 and 19, number 1 mushroom against Stake, its contribution is about 26%. And the number 2 mushroom is both this your oyster mushroom and wood deer mushroom. Oyster mushroom is again it is 21%. I'm sorry that it is written a little bit because oyster Plotus arangi, one species contributing 5%. So that also should be included in this. So oyster plus other species of oyster mushroom plus this Plotus arangi, one species of Plotus, both these 2 mushroom species they contribute 21%, and 21% is also contributed by wood deer mushroom. And number 4 mushroom is again butter mushroom, but its contribution has come down to 11% only. And Flammulina number 5, its contribution 7%, almost you can say presently. And Pedista mushroom is giving just 1%, and rest about 13%. So in 2018-19, again the share of butter mushroom in the global market is decreasing. As Stake has emerged as number 1 mushroom. And this is the progress China has made. In 1978, when the global mushroom production was just 0.06 million tons, its contribution was 6%. But by 2014, when the global production was 37 million tons, its contribution was about 87% of the total mushroom production in the world. And these are the edible mushroom species where they're cultivated in China. They're cultivating 60 mushroom species commercially, whereas in India, we are cultivating about 5 mushroom species commercially presently. Another important country, Japan, and here you can see about 472,000 tons of mushrooms are being produced. And from the last, you say from 1971, the journey you can say that it is progressing. Certainly, it is not witnessing exponential growth, but in some sort of linear growth is there in the mushroom production in the Japanese mushroom industry. Now in Japan, butter mushroom, which was very, very popular in the world, it is not important there. They are not cultivating butter mushroom. Just 1 or 2 farms may be there, but largely there is not, it's almost negligible production is there. Stake mushroom is very, very important there. And due to that, because it is very popular in Japan, because of that, it is also known as a Japanese mushroom. Then Flammulina velutina is important there. Then Hypsis giganteus is also known as blue dhingri. It is another important mushroom. Gryphola frondosa medicinal mushroom, Mitake, sometimes we call it, and Plotus arangi, king oyster mushroom, and Plotus austratus, the oyster mushroom. These are the mushroom species which are important in Japan. And in Japan, not that every mushroom are being cultivated in almost all the part of the country, but only 2 states are there. One is this Nagano, 35%, and Niigata. Total out of this, that 35% and 21. How much is this? About 56% production is coming only from these 2 states in Japan. Likewise, in USA, butter mushroom is important there, and almost 98% is the butter mushroom production. But the eating trend, somewhere in 1965, they were preferring this only your preserved mushroom, the canned mushroom, and about 74% they were consumed in the preserved form, and just 26% they were consumed at the fresh. But now the trend has reversed. About 90% people they prefer this mushroom in the fresh form, and about 10% they are preferring the mushroom in the canned form. Here again, these are the 2 states. That is Pennsylvania. Total out of the total mushroom production in USA, 65% is contributed by this 1 state, Pennsylvania, and about 11% is contributed by California. So here again, the mushroom production is localized. And similarly in Canada, the 2 states, Ontario, 51% it is contributing, and 39% is British Columbia. These are the only 2 states where maximum mushroom production is there. Then in Europe, these are the leading countries: Poland, Netherlands, Spain, France, UK, where mushroom production is there, and almost butter mushroom production they are doing. And here you can see that the mushroom production is slightly increasing in Poland. Whereas in Netherlands, the mushroom production is decreasing. Whereas again in France also the mushroom production is decreasing. Whereas in Spain and UK, you are finding this mushroom production is almost static. So one of the main reason for this decline in the mushroom growth is in this country is the labor cost, because labor is very, very costly in this country, and because of that, this mushroom is decreasing. Then in USA, button mushroom is very important, of course, as I told, and in China, 60 mushroom species they are cultivating, and in Japan, again, button mushroom is not there, but other mushroom species are there. In Malaysia, it is oyster mushroom. That is very important. Other mushrooms, they are not very popular there, but it's 94% is the oyster mushroom cultivation in this in Malaysia. And these are some exporters and importers where we can sell our mushroom fresh or maybe preserved or dry. These are the exporter and the importers. And coming to the world trade of mushroom, it is about edible mushroom. They are about 59%, and about $30 billion trade is that of edible mushroom, and about $60 billion is that of medicinal mushroom, and it is 31%. And the wild mushroom, about 10% is the trade, world over trade is that of wild mushroom, and it is about $5 billion. Then the consumption is very, very important, and a world average of the consumption of mushroom is about 5 to 6 kg per capita per year, whereas Chinese, they are consuming about 22 kg mushroom per capita. Most of the consumption is taken by them, but whereas in India, about 0.15 kg, that means about 150 gram mushroom consumption is there. Our consumption is very, very bigger, very, very low. So we have to promote the mushroom consumption, and we have to create awareness about the merits of mushroom food among the masses. Now, this is the Indian scenario. That the other countries, that South Korea is another important country where mushrooms are being cultivated. And then in India, presently we are producing about 230,000 tons of mushroom, and butter mushroom accounts about more than 70%. Tropical and subtropical mushroom, about 4 other mushrooms are there. One is pedicella mushroom, then is oyster mushroom, and the third is your milky mushroom, fourth one is starchy mushroom. These are other 4 mushrooms which are cultivated commercially in our country, and their contribution was 30%. Whereas the bird mushroom production is of 43 million tons, and the crop residue in India is about 700 million tons. And presently, the crop utilized, the residue which are being utilized in our country is about 0.06%. World average consumption is 5 to 6 kg mushroom, and India it is about 150 grams. Now, mushroom provides that solution to some of the key problems which we are facing today. One is limited land and water resources and unemployment. These are, I think, very burning issues which we are facing, which our country is facing. Second is inadequate quality food supply. And then third is diminishing quality of health. And the fourth one is increasing environmental deterioration. Unfortunately, a mushroom cultivation has the solution for all these problems. And for example, here, limited land, as you know, the population is increasing, per capita land is decreasing. According to one data about in 2061, per capita land available in our country was about 3,400 square meter. If by 2013, that per capita land availability decreased to just 1,200 square meters. So that is how the land availability is decreasing. And all the land is also not available for the agriculture, because some is used for the industrial use. Then urbanization in our country is going in a huge scale. So that agricultural land is being converted into that residential colonies. That is another aspect. And so land is becoming a limited factor, and we have to switch on to the crops. We have to go for the crops which can be cultivated vertically and which require very less land. And mushroom, fortunately, is one that has all these advantages. Then water requirement is another issue. Water availability is that becoming another very serious problem. The water availability somewhere in 1991 was about 2,300 cubic meter, which decreased to just 1,900 cubic meter in 2001, and in 2011 the per capita water availability in our country decreased to 1,500 cubic meter. And all the nations which are having less than this 1700 cubic meter water availability, they are the water stress nation. So already our country is a water stress nation, and you must be knowing, not exactly, but you know that there are some presumption that if the third war will be there, it will be only for the water. It will be not only for the, it will be for water. So water is such important commodity, and mushroom is a crop that requires very less water. And I think in the other slide I will discuss the how much water is required for the mushroom and for the other crops. And then it is a the highly remunerating crop. Mushroom cultivation is a labor-intensive industry, so certainly it provides ample opportunity for the employment. Then inadequate quality food supply. Mushroom, fortunately, they are having all these. It is a very nutritious food. That I will also discuss, and Dr. Atri will also discuss about this. And then mushroom, they are having some medicinal values and some nutraceutical properties. For that, you can use the mushroom for these purposes as nutraceuticals, and we can convert the waste into wealth. We can take care of our soil, because by using that that mushroom waste for the improvement of the soil health. So these are the 5 mushroom which we are cultivating in our country. One is white butter mushroom, number 1, butter mushroom. The second is oyster mushroom. Third one is milky mushroom, and fourth one is padista mushroom, and the fifth one is the stake mushroom. These are the only 5 mushroom which we are cultivating commercially in our country. Of course, other mushroom are also there, but they are just at a very small scale. But the commercial cultivation is largely lacking in other mushrooms. This is how we made the progress. In 1970, when, as I discussed in the early part, that some commercial units, 5-6 commercial units, they were established in our country, and our country's production was about 3,000 tons. Thereafter, as we witnessed, as the mushroom, this world witnessed the mushroom growth, similar is the case in India. Here also, the mushroom production was not just the linear growth was there. Thereafter, some jump was there, but in the last, I think, 1 or 2 decades, there is certainly a quantum jump in the mushroom production. And presently, we are producing about 230,000 tons of mushroom. This is how, in 1980, the relative contribution of the different species. Butter mushroom was the, I think, only mushroom species which were cultivated in the country. In 2009, about 82% of the mushroom production was contributed by butter mushroom, and oyster was there. Valvanilla was very important at that time, 12%, and oyster 5, milky 1. So these 4 mushroom we started somewhere in 2009, and in 2017, the butter mushroom share decreased to 73%, and oyster increased 16%. Padista decreased with, as compared to 2009, from 12 to 7%, and milky mushroom 3%. Others 1%. And in 2020, butter mushroom contribution has decreased to 70%. Oyster has gone up a little bit, up 17%, and padista mushroom 9%, and milky 3%, and others primarily in this. I'm talking about the stake mushroom. It is giving about 1% production. And this is the contribution of different states in our country. And Odisha is #1 state presently. It is contributing about 22,000 tons of mushroom. And here again, you will be surprised to know that Odisha is not cultivating. They are doing some cultivation of butter mushroom, but it is largely padista mushroom, which they are cultivating in the open. Just that they are not going for any infrastructure under the shade of trees. This padista mushroom is cultivated in the open. And second, the highest producer is Maharashtra. It is giving 20,000 tons, more than 20,000 tons of mushroom. And of course, then Haryana, and this is your Punjab. Haryana is 19,000, Punjab is 18,000, and then Himachal Pradesh. And here you can see Bihar, another very important state. Here actually mushroom production was just 3,000 to 5,000 tons per annum about 3 to 4 years back. But certainly the mushroom production is taken by many farmers there, and there is quantum jump has been experienced in Bihar state, and about more than 20,000 tons of mushrooms are being produced presently. Here again, this oyster mushroom is very important. Button is also there, because many commercial units, they have started this mushroom cultivation in the Bihar state, but it is primarily this oyster mushroom which is cultivated by farmers in the rural areas, particularly by the tribal people also. They are doing this mushroom cultivation. So this is how the relative contribution of different states in our country. And if you see that where which mushroom is important in which part of our country. It is North India and Maharashtra. There actually button mushroom is important, whereas this milky mushroom is important in the southern part, particularly Tamil Nadu, maybe Karnataka, maybe Andhra Pradesh, and then this Padista mushroom is grown in Odisha and in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and these are states, important states where this Padista mushroom cultivation is there. Then this Western mushroom is grown in almost in all the northeastern states of our country, and it is important in West Bengal, it is important in Bihar, and Chhattisgarh, in Madhya Pradesh. These are the states where this Western mushroom cultivation is going on. And Stake mushroom is cultivated in northeastern state. There also one state, that is Manipur state, and the second is your in the last couple of years, this mushroom cultivation, Stake mushroom cultivation, has been also taken up in North India, in these states, in Himachal Pradesh, in Uttarakhand, and in Haryana. Only the hilly regions of this Haryana, some morning hills. There are many farms who are doing this Stake mushroom cultivation. So, mushroom, little bit about why mushroom is important, that it is a health food and it is a dietary supplement. It can be medicine also. So, this, that in addition to food, supplements and drugs, mushrooms are used as cosmetics also. It is not only that only we are using the mushroom as a food or as a drug, but some cosmeticals are also there. Different compounds from mushrooms they are used for the cosmetic companies because of their why they are used, because they have the ability to activate epidermal growth factor. That is important. They have got this anti-oxidative and anti-allergic properties. They've got this antibacterial and anti-inflammatory activity, and then they have the ability to stimulate collagen activity and treat aging. So because of this, they are used for these purposes. And mushroom, they are having about 40 to 60% carbohydrate, protein is about up to 40%, fat up to 44%. And in different mushrooms, there is not much, the difference. That in butter mushroom, here you can see these buildings, almost this carbohydrates is indicated by this red building, and then this blue indicating the protein, and almost in same trend you are finding, and the fat is indicated by this green. So little bit here you can see that in almost in different mushrooms you are finding almost the same trend. So different mushroom, the composition of protein, carbohydrate, fat will remain almost the same. Here again, a different cultivated mushroom, butter mushroom, lotus, Stake, and Pilotus ostratus volvarilla. Again, we'll find that almost the same trend is there as far as this nutritional values are concerned. Mushroom is a rich source of protein, and it is having all the essential amino acids, and they're having high digestibility. And it has been declared as one of the prominent source. It has been recognized rather as one of the prominent source of protein by FAO. And then it's good for infants, children, pregnant ladies, and then lactating women. And the biological value of mushroom protein is very high. It is more than 90%. What we eat, that is actually available to our system. So we are utilizing that. It is digestibility is very high. And then proteins they are hydrophobics. That means they are just within the water molecules. And the essential amino acids, all particularly if we talk about the lysine and tryptophan, 2 amino acids, they are present in the mushroom. This is the composition of different essential amino acids. Tyrosine is there, leucine, lysine, valine, threonine, phenylalanine, isoleucine, methionine, and cysteine. Particularly the lysine, tryptophan, these are the 2 essential amino acids which are present in mushrooms, and they are lacking in cereal diets. Then gluten-free. Mushroom is a gluten-free food. So a mushroom do not naturally contain gluten. Mushrooms they are grown in the compost that contain wheat straw, and wheat straw is containing gluten, but it is not that present in the mushroom. However, there is no gluten in the straw. Only in the grains this gluten is there. So mushroom is good for digestion and hypertension. They are having high fiber, because of that it is good for the digestive system. It is having sodium is low, high potassium diet is there, so it is good for this hypertensive patients. So likewise about this fibers content, it is prebiotic role in the intestine. Dietary fiber assists the digestion process and functioning of bowel system. And mushroom fiber act as a prebiotic because it assists digestion and becomes food for the healthy bacteria residing in the large intestine or the bowel. These are the potassium and sodium contents in different mushrooms. Now it is again important because the ratio of these 2 minerals, potassium versus sodium, is very high. Sodium is low, potassium is very high. And because of this ratio, because of these two minerals, it is excellent food for the patients who are suffering with this hypertension or with the blood pressure. Then mushroom, they are having low fat and they are having ergosterol. It can be converted to vitamin D, and they are having polyunsaturated fatty acids. Here you can see about 80% of the fatty acids, they are unsaturated fatty acids, and only 20% are the saturated fatty acids. Of course, it is little fat is there, and the cholesterol, the dreaded one, there is cholesterol is not present in the mushroom. That is again beauty of the mushrooms. Rather, some of the mushrooms they are having this anti-cholesterol compound. For example, Iritadinine is there in Agaricus spelagi, and reishi mushroom, that is Ganoderma, and Stachya mushroom. So it has the ability to reduce the cholesterol. Likewise, lovastatin is present in oyster mushroom. It can decrease, it can reduce this cholesterol content of the body. Coming to the vitamins, mushroom, they are having E plus, they are having C vitamin, they are having vitamin D, and this is the composition of different vitamin B. There's riboflavin, niacin, pantothenic acid, ergothinin, biotin, selenium is there. So about the minerals, you can see that selenium, how important selenium is. Copper, both these minerals, they are present in mushroom. Vitamin D is there. Vitamin B12. In fact, it is the vitamin. In fact, mushroom is the only source among the plants that is having this vitamin D, vitamin B12 content. Then calcium, phosphorus, and iron content in western mushroom is approximately double the amount available in beef, pork, and chicken meat. So here you can see the importance of calcium. Calcium, as you know, that is very, very important for our body, for our bones. Iron is important for our blood. So all these minerals, they are important and they are present in sufficient quantity in mushroom. And one survey was conducted in Delhi about this vitamin D. It is very interesting. And here what they found that just 90% people, they are adolescent, they were suffering, they were having this vitamin D deficiency. College girl particularly, they were almost all, they were deficient in vitamin D. And even the lactating mothers, 99%, and this breastfed infants, they were about 98%. So vitamin D deficiency, that what you can conclude from this data, that vitamin D deficiency is very much prominent in our society. So we have to switch on to a food that is having this vitamin D. So likewise, this vitamin deficiency in rural adults and urban adults is there. Here you can see that about 44% in rural also they were suffering from this vitamin deficiency, whereas about 70% female, they were having this vitamin D deficiency. Likewise, this urban adults, more your vitamin deficiency was there, and females are also more deficiency was of vitamin D with that. Likewise, in rural children, more deficiency, less deficiency in vitamin D, whereas compared to these urban children, they were showing this more vitamin D deficiency. So from where we get this vitamin D, either wild mushroom, they are having high vitamin D content, number one, whereas compared to the mushroom which are grown in the indoor, and then UV light that converts the ergosterol to vitamin D, that is there. So this is again related to, this is how the vitamin D content they are produced when the cholesterol is converted into calciferol, it is converted into vitamin D, and ergosterol that is converted into ergocalciferol. Particularly this is happening in mushrooms, that ergosterol is present there, it is converted to vitamin D2. And then little bit, the mushroom is that is low caloric food. There is no cholesterol, no starch is there. So because of that, it is delight of the diabetic patients. And there are some flavonoids which are having this antioxidant activities. Glycemic index is very, very low in the mushrooms. Rather, it is so low that it can not be detected. Then free radicals are unstable, highly reactive molecules that damage the skin, other tissues. So free radicals found when oxygen interact with the certain molecules, and antioxidants, they are also present in mushrooms. Some anti-aging properties are also present in some mushrooms. For example, reishi mushroom, Agaricus spelagi, that is butter mushroom, oyster mushroom, Agaricus bisporus, that is the common cultivated butter mushroom, Stachya and Maitake, that is Gryphola. Then they are rich in many minerals like copper, that is basically having this cardioprotective function, and selenium, that is having anti-cancerous property. So selenium is a powerful mineral that is essential for the proper functioning of our body. It plays an important role, critical role in metabolism and thyroid functions, and helps to protect our body from damage caused by oxidative stress. And it can help to boost our immunity system. That is important, particularly if we talk during the present when we are facing this coronavirus. Copper is there, that is copper cardioprotective. And then it is mushroom, they are showing this anti-HIV, antiviral, and anti-histaminic property. They are having hypocholesterolemic, hepato and nephroprotective. They can protect your liver, they can protect our kidney. They are the stamina enhancer. Lovastatin already I told, and it can take care of this cholesterol. Lanthanum, for example, it is present in stake. It can take care of that. It can cure your cancer disease. This is lanthanum content. They're having this anti-tumor activity, anti-cancer activity, anti-thrombosis activity, and anti-asthma activities. They are having this antivirus activity, and it can also reduce the cholesterol content. Cordyceps is there, another mushroom, Cordyceps sinensis. Cordycepin is present in this mushroom. So it is a energy and endurance. It is having the 60% beta-glucan, and then 7% is cordycepic acid, and adenosine is 3% in this. So fluoromotin, many mushrooms, they are also source of many antibiotics also. And fluoromutilin is another class of this antimalarial compound that is present in the mushrooms. And mushrooms, they can also reduce the effect of side effects of the radiotherapy and chemotherapy. So almost medicinal mushrooms and fungi, they have more than 130 medicinal functions. And they are very, that important if you talk any about the anti-tumor activity or maybe immunomodulating activity or any antioxidant type of activity. All these activities are very. These are some important, compounds which has been detected from mushroom. They include this lanthanum, it includes glyphosate, cyzophilin, GLPS, PSP, bifungin, propylene, ethyl. They are present in different mushrooms, but they are having certainly very, very important these medicinal important properties. So, friends, this was just a little bit about the medicinal and the nutritional value of the mushrooms. I think in detail, Dr. will discuss. And these 5 mushrooms which are cultivated in our country, they are the button. The first one is the button one, that is contributing about 70% of the total mushroom production in the country. So here in our country, 2 systems of button mushroom cultivation are there. One is seasonal cultivation, and the second is your controlled, that round the year mushroom cultivation, that is in the high-tech cultivation. And almost whatsoever production we are doing, about 90% is contributed by the controlled environment structures, whereas about 10% mushroom production is coming from the seasonal mushroom cultivation. Overall, I'm talking about. But in different states, the scenario may be different. For example, in Haryana, in that state, about 50 to 60% mushroom production is coming from the controlled unit, and almost 50% production is coming from the seasonal cultivation. So in the seasonal cultivation, it is clear that mushroom cultivation is done only in that particular season that is favorable for the mushroom cultivation. Now, button is a temperate mushroom. That means it is cultivated in the winter months. And this seasonal cultivation, they don't go for this costly infrastructure, but they are using the simple methods. For example, in the compost preparation, they are not using this high-tech type of structure, but they are going for the long method of compost, where no infrastructure is required at all. Simply the compost is prepared by long method. Long means it will take long time. About a month's time is required for the mushroom cultivation, for the compost preparation. Some modification in this long method cultivation, long method of compost preparation has been done by Directorate of Mushroom Research, and we have invented this zero energy polytunnel composting method, where the growers, they insert 6 pipes, perforated pipes, this 4-inch diameter inside that heap, and because of that it remains aerobic, and because of this aerobic condition inside the heap, the compost it become ready in a short time, and the compost what we are producing, that is a quality compost. So this type of low cost structure they are using bamboo, and they are using this. This is the top view, bamboo they are using to create the skeleton of the hut, low cost structure, and then they are using the paddy straw for insulating the walls, and then they are going for the shelves. Different tiers are there, and they are putting again the bamboo and nylon threads. So likewise, they are making this the shelves, and then they are putting a layer of polythene on this just to hold the compost on this shelf. And in the roof also, they are putting one polythene sheet just to protect it from the rains also, and then they are putting this paddy straw to give that insulation effect. And ultimately, this is the view of a hut, that is these are the low-cost structures. So compost they are preparing by long method, where different turnings are given. I think the detail will be discussed with you in the later part of the training, and it will take long time. It will take about 3 turns. So this, it depends. The quantity of compost depends upon the number of huts. More the huts, more the quantity of the compost is required. So this is a view of one farm where that compost is being prepared in front of the huts, and then after that compost is ready, it is filled in the cropping rooms. They can go for this self system where bed system where compost is being spread on the shelves about 6-inch layer thick, and if the temperature is low, then it is covered by the this polythene sheet just to maintain or just to make the temperature. And for the incubation time, during this period, about 25 degrees centigrade temperature is required. In about 10 to 15 days, the spawn will be complete. That it will colonize. The spawn will colonize the compost, and hereafter, if the temperature is high, then what we have to do? Because the grower is doing it seasonally, then we will put this polythene, these newspaper sheets, and we frequently spray with water so that we can control the temperature. But it should not go more than 25 or 26 degrees centigrade during their temperature during the spawn run time. And again, here also this will be completed within within just 12 to 15 days. And once the spawn run is complete, then we will remove these these newspaper sheet or polythene sheet, and we will cover this compost with a layer of casing soil that is about 3 to 4 centimeter. Casing soil is prepared from old well-rotten farmyard manure, or maybe coir pith, or maybe peat moss, or maybe burnt rice husk. Different casing materials they are used in different parts of the country, and here in India we are using this coir pith primarily, about 50% to 60% coir pith, and about 50% this well-rotten farmyard manure. So layer of that is spread at the top of this, and then the temperature is slowly reduced from 25 degrees centigrade to 16 to 18 degrees centigrade. It will take about 10 to 15 days time, and then the beds they are frequently sprayed once or twice, and aeration is also provided inside the cropping rooms, maybe for 2 to 4 hours daily, just by opening the windows of the cropping room. And when we are doing manipulating all these environment conditions, fruit body induction will be there. And in about 30 days after putting that spawn inside the compost, the fruit body will start coming. And this is a bed system. We can also go for the bag system, where about 10 to 12 kg compost is filled in each bag. And otherwise, all the operations, agronomic operations, they are the same. So after about 2 months, that is, right from putting that spawn in the compost, after about 2 months, we can harvest about 2 kg mushroom from 10 kg bag, or about 20 kg mushroom from 100 kg of compost. It will come in flushes. One flush is over, then another flush will come, and in this way, 2 to 3 flushes, or maybe more, they will be there. And ultimately, after about 20% conversion, compost will be there. This is a high-tech mushroom house. It is situated near Pune, and it is producing about 5,000 tons of mushroom per annum. And here, actually, what is the difference in the high-tech mushroom house? Number one, here the environment is controlled. So they are doing mushroom cultivation around the year. And whereas the seasonal mushroom growth, they are doing cultivation when the season is favorable. So what I told that in North India, mostly the seasonal cultivation of the button mushroom is done during the winter months, when the temperature is low. And second difference is that they are producing compost by long method. Here they are using this short method of compost, where bunkers are required, where pasteurization chambers are required. So that type of infrastructure is there. They are using the boilers to sterilize their casing soil, to pasteurize the compost, and the compost that become ready in shorter time, and it is having better quality. And this is another unit. It is again near Pune. It is a Wakefield mushroom unit, and its capacity is about 3,000 tons mushroom per annum. Second mushroom species in our country, that is Western mushroom cultivation. Here actually 6 to 8 species we are cultivating in our country. They are different. They are having different colors. They are requiring different temperatures for the cultivation. And the cultivation technology for the Western mushroom is very simple. Because straight away in butter mushroom, we have to prepare compost, and compost preparation is really a very tedious job, and that is a high-tech job. If the compost is not, that up to the mark, we cannot grow mushroom, butter mushroom there. But here actually, in oyster mushroom, we are not supposed to prepare compost, but simply we are using this wheat straw or paddy straw or any other waste, agriculture waste. Simply we are going for soaking of this substrate in water, and then we can sterilize our substrate. We can pasteurize our substrate by using any method, maybe hot water method, maybe chemical treatment, maybe steam pasteurization. There are different methods are there. So once that treatment is done, just in 1 or 2 days, all that activities can be performed, and then it is excess water is allowed to drain out, and then it is spawning is done. It is filled in bag, and spawning is also done simultaneously. About 4 to 5 kg substrate is filled in each bag. Then it is incubated in the cropping rooms where the spawn run will take place. The spawn will spread in the bags. Once the spawn run is complete, then we can remove or we can put some holes on the bag, and the mushroom droplets start coming after about 15 to 20 days. And here again, another beauty of this mushroom, this oyster mushroom, is that in butter mushroom, we reduced the temperature. There were 2 different temperatures. During fruiting, the temperature was different. During spawning, the different temperature was different. But in oyster mushroom, there is no differentiation. Whatsoever temperature we are providing for incubation, the same we are providing for the fruiting also. So this system is also very popular, hanging system, particularly in northeastern states or in Madhya Pradesh. There actually the farmers, they are in this system, and they are hanging these bags, and they are getting the crop. After that, once the crop is ready, then what we can do? In butter mushroom, that we have to sell it. Otherwise, we cannot preserve. For the preservation, we have to go for the canning. We cannot dry butter mushroom. But here the advantage is that if it is sold fresh, it is fine. If it is not sold fresh, then what you have to do? We can dry it. Sun drying is there, cabinet drying is there, and we can dry it. We can pack it in some suitable packaging material, and thereafter the storage life is maybe 6 months or maybe 1 year. We can sell it at the later on. So that the storage is possible, the drying is possible. So because of that, storage is also possible in oyster mushroom, but it's not possible in butter mushroom. Then in milky mushroom, this grows still at a high temperature, 28 to 35 degrees centigrade. And here the cultivation technology is blend of both. That means we don't require compost here also. The substrate requirement is the similar what we were requiring for this oyster mushroom, but here we have to apply a casing layer exactly the same way as we did for this butter mushroom. So temperature requirement again is only the 30 to 35 degrees centigrade temperature for both spawn run and this your cropping. So substrate is prepared like this, and thereafter it is filled in bags. Spawning is also done. After spawning, the bags, they are incubated about 3 to 4 kg we are filling in each bag, and then it is incubated in the cropping room at say 30 to 35 degrees centigrade. And once the spawn is complete, then we have to, this type of low cost structure, they are very popular in southern India. They are using that just to protect from that sun, they are covering with bamboo some mats, and generally this cultivation is done under the shade of some trees, and then sheets these small, but these low cost structure, they are prepared to cultivate this milky mushroom there. So when the spawn is there, we open the bags, we cover them with the casing soil, and thereafter the same temperature we are maintaining. Light, yes, important, light is required for this mushroom. For butter mushroom, there is no light requirement. For oyster mushroom, certainly the light is required. Whereas for the milky mushroom, also light requirement is there. And you know that after about 35 to 40 days, you will get this type of view in the cropping room. And the advantage of this mushroom, milky mushroom, compared to butter mushroom is that number one, it is more white. Second is that it is not requiring compost. And third is that the shelf life of milky mushroom is long. We can store this mushroom at a room temperature, not in the refrigerator, but at a room temperature for 9 to 10 days. Whereas it is not possible to store this butter mushroom temperature, even in the refrigerator for more than 3 to 4 days. So this is another advantage. And even if you will find that it is really difficult to market the mushroom, then we can delay the harvesting. In butter mushroom, it is not possible. If you delay the harvesting, mushroom cap will open, and certainly it will lose the marketing value, sale value. Whereas in milky mushroom, there is no problem. The cap will not open. It is having a small cap. It will remain as such. You can delay the harvesting. If you're not finding market for 2 days, you can delay the harvesting. You harvest after 2 days. It is not going to deteriorate the quality of the harvest. So that is another point here in milky mushroom. Then the third is pedistra mushroom. And then another is pedistra mushroom. Pedistra mushroom. That means it grows on the pedistra. So here actually the traditional method is that we make the bundles of the pedistra like this, and then these pedistra bundles, they are soaked in lime water. Calcium carbonate is added in the tanks in the water, and then these bundles, they are soaked in the water. So once the soaking is complete, then the beds are prepared. Beds are prepared on some raised platform, because the mushroom cultivation of this mushroom is done in open. Certainly under the shade of some trees. Here you can find that yes, beds are being prepared under shade of some tree, and like this, the beds, they are prepared. Simultaneously, the spawning is also done. Spawn is also added simultaneously. So likewise, different beds, they can prepared on this raised platform, and this is the view of different beds under the shade of some tree. And then when the beds are ready, about 15 to 16 bundle of that pedistra, they are used for making one bed, and then they are covered with the polythene sheet. Temperature requirement is about 30 to 35 degrees centigrade. It should not be less than 30 degrees centigrade for the cultivation of Bolverella, this Bolvaceae. Two species are there. One is another Bolverella bombyciana that require little low temperature, but the most popular is this Bolverella Bolvaceae, and its temperature requirement is about 35 degrees centigrade. It is very fast growing fungus. So within 7-8 days, it will colonize all the substrate, and thereafter at that time you can remove the sheet. This polythene sheet has to be removed, and the mushroom, they will start coming like this. And then mushroom, it should be harvested at the egg stage. This is the right stage when this mushroom must be harvested. So within, just within 10 days or 11 days, you will get the first harvest. Then these beds, they will give another harvest after about 10 days. That means within 20 days, you will get about two harvests from these beds, and thereafter these beds, they can be terminated. So within 20 days, the one crop cycle is complete. Now, it is such a, that fast growing fungus, that is a plus point. But the demerit of this mushroom is that the shelf life of this mushroom is very short. It is just maximum at the most 2 days, that is the most. But within 1 day, it has to be consumed within 1 day. And that too, you can put it in the room temperature, at a room temperature, not in the refrigerator. It is very sensitive to low temperature. If you are storing this mushroom in the refrigerator, liquefaction will be there, and that whole fruit body or the whole that product will be spoiled. So this is the growth. Then the another method of this pedistra mushroom cultivation here, that is the indoor method of cultivation. Here we have to prepare the compost. Not exactly what we are doing in the button mushroom, but certainly different formula is there, where we are using this cotton ginning meal, pedistra. By using that, we have to prepare the compost. It has to be pasteurized, and then it is filled in the these cropping rooms. Here the biological efficiency, that means the yield per 100 kg substrate is very high. Whereas in the traditional method, the previous one, what I told, here actually the biological efficiency from 100 kg dry pedistra, you will harvest maximum 10 to 15 kg mushroom, fresh mushroom. Whereas by using this method, indoor method of cultivation, we can harvest about 35 to 40 kg or maybe up to 45 kg mushroom per 100 kg of that substrate. So thereafter, once the crop is ready, and in this mushroom, we have to go for harvesting maybe twice or thrice in a day. It is because very fast growing fungus, and it open very fast, just egg shaped, and thereafter the fruit body will open and it become like an umbrella structure. So it has to be harvested at when it is at the egg stage, and it has to be sold in the market, or it has to be consumed almost on the same day. Then the another mushroom is Stachya mushroom. It again, two methods of cultivation are there. One is your wood log method, that is a traditional method, and the second is your synthetic log method. In the boot log method, I think the detail will be discussed in the subsequent lectures, but here the boots of the broadleaf tubes, they are used, and the production period is long. Of course, the first drop, what we take, it may take 1 year. Then the second method, that is the synthetic long method. Here again, the sawdust from the broadleaf tubes that is used. It is soaked in water, maybe for 16 to 18 hours, and thereafter it is supplemented with some supplement, maybe wheat bran or maybe rice bran at the rate of 15 to 20%. It is filled in polypropylene bags at the rate of 1.5 to 2 kg, and it is plugged using this cotton plug. And thereafter, we are going for the sterilization of these bags in the autoclave. Once the bag is sterilized, it is spawned, it is inoculated with the Stake spawn, and like this it is put, and thereafter it is incubated in the incubation rooms. We have another technology here where we can get short duration cultivation technology, where the spawn run will be complete just in 30 days to 35 days. And thereafter, during these stages also, it will pass from different phases, the pump formation, the browning, all these phases they are faced during this. And once these bags, they are brown in color, thereafter these bags are open, the cold water treatment is given. That means we have to put these logs inside this cold water for 6 degrees centigrade or 10 to 15 minutes. Again, these bags, they are taken out, they are arranged on the shelves in the cropping room, and after about 47 days, you will get this type of scene in the cropping room. You can take the first harvest. Thereafter, again, some rest period is required. Again, after about a gap of 1 month's time, another flush will come. So likewise, 4 to 5 flushes you can harvest, and from 1 kg dry sawdust, one can harvest about 1.2 kg mushroom, fresh mushroom in the stack. These are sold as fresh in the market, or they can be stored, they can be dried. Different methods of drying are there, and maybe sun drying is there, maybe cabinet drying is there, and accordingly, that it can be, they can be stored for a long time. Then another concept, some of you can certainly think about this ready-to-fruit bags. It is possible in oyster mushroom, particularly it is possible in Stake mushroom. So just to promote, just to cater the demand of mushrooms in the urban area particularly, we have to establish this type of, we have to go for this type of entrepreneurship, where we can develop this type of bags, where the urban people, they will purchase it, they will put this bag in their kitchen, and they will eat this kitchen fresh mushrooms. This is Cordyceps militaris. Cordyceps sinensis we are trying to cultivate, but we are not succeeded to that. But Cordyceps militaris, this is some sort of tissue lab type of infrastructure requirement are required. And here in about 2 months time, we can take the one crop of this Cordyceps militaris. It is a medicinal mushroom purely. It's a very costly mushroom, and some of you can also think about the cultivation of this mushroom at your farm. This is Cordyceps sinensis. It is basically, it is growing in the caterpillar in the nature, and here in India it occurs in Uttarakhand and some in Arunachal Pradesh, but in other parts it is not there. So local people of those areas, they are collecting this mushroom during this summers or maybe spring, late spring or maybe summer, early summer, and then they are selling this mushroom in the market. So it is another very important mushroom. This is your Ganoderma. Cultivation technology is almost similar what I described for the Stake, but its temperature requirement is high. It is about 30 to 35 degrees centigrade, and it is purely a medicine mushroom. It is not consumed as vegetable, but certainly the pharmaceutical company, they will purchase it, they will process it, they will go for extractions, or they may come out with some products like mushroom capsules, maybe tablets, maybe some other Ganoderma tea, coffee, and cosmetics like that. The number of products are there which are being produced from this medicine mushroom Ganoderma. A number of products are also available in the market presently. And Directorate of Mushroom Research has also developed a variety of different products. It includes biscuits, it includes popcorn, it includes nuggets, and then it also includes pickles, and these centrally we also developed millet mushroom cookies, and then millet mushroom Nutribars are also, and mushroom multigrain breads, they are also available in the market. The technology was developed at ICITM Solon. It was given to the entrepreneurs. There are some bakers, they are already producing this mushroom multigrain breads, and it is already in the market. The mushroom spreads are also there, these egg straits are also there, and mushroom noodles, of course. Then different products are there which are available in the market. So coming to this marketing, the growers, they are different channels are there. Either the growers, they are going to the consumers directly, grower they are producing and selling to the consumer directly. And the second channel, some agents they are involved, and then they are taking the material, they are taking the product from the mushroom growers, then they're taking it to the local or district markets. And third channel is that some cooperatives are also there, particularly in Haryana, I think. Some FPOs are there, farm produce organizations are there, and then they are selling their product to this. They are taking this, they are taking from the growers, then they are taking to the local or district markets, or even they are going for the exports. And in some countries, it's not this system is not there in our country, but in some countries, for example, in Japan, there is auctioning of this Stachyum mushroom. And for example, in Netherlands, there is auctioning of white mushroom. So as happening in our country for other vegetables, that type of system is prevailing in other countries, but it is not there in our country. These are the leading exporters of mushrooms. Poland is there, Netherlands is there, China, Canada is there, Belarus, Ireland. Like this is the list of different countries. But for us, I think it is the Gulf countries where we can. I think these are the countries which we can target, and depending on our location, because our location is such that we can easily target these countries. We can send our mushroom to these countries, and then USA maximum production. What we are producing, less than 1% we are exporting presently. There was time when we were exporting about 50% what we were producing, and that was happening because when one big unit was there in near Chandigarh, Agrodex mushroom unit. Its capacity was 50,000 tons per annum, and it was 100% export-oriented unit. But due to some management problem, that unit has been closed, and now what we are sending from some of the units, they are exporting the mushrooms, but it is less than 1% to these units. And then coming to the leading importers, these are the United Kingdom, Germany, almost all the Gulf countries, they are importing the mushroom there also. So mushroom is basically zero-based industry, and nothing is waste. When we are producing 1 kg mushroom, about 5 kg, we are producing the spent mushroom compost. And depending upon the mushroom species, what we are cultivating, we can use it, that substrate can use that spent mushroom substrate. For example, if we are cultivating butter mushroom, the spent mushroom substrate can be used as organic manure. When we are using this oyster mushroom, that can be used as a cattle feed. If it is Stachyum mushroom, then that sawdust can be used for the fuel purpose. If it is Pedistar mushroom, then that spent mushroom substrate can be used for the vermi compost. So depending upon this. So because of vertical farming, mushroom is the highest, that it has very high productivity. And here you can see the comparison that mushroom, they can about 400 tons of mushroom can be produced per hectare. Whereas if you are cultivating wheat or rice on the same piece of land, we can just per hectare, I'm talking about, we can produce about 7.5 tons. So likewise, fruits and vegetables, they're also having very low production compared to mushrooms per hectare land. Because of that high productivity, mushroom is also the highest protein producer per hectare per day. Water scarcity I was talking about, this red is showing that the water high to extremely high water stress. So you can see almost North India, then some central part, and then South India that is already facing the water scarcity. And we have to switch on to the crops that require small quantity of water. And mushroom is one, it is requiring about 25 liters of water for the production of 1 kg mushroom. Whereas if we compare with rice, that is requiring about 2,500 liters of water for the production of 1 kg rice. Coming to the income, I think you must be very interested in this slide, that if you are doing this traditional farming, that is if you are growing wheat or paddy, you can earn about 50,000 rupees per annum. If you're going for high-tech house, you can earn about 15 lakhs. If you are going for the seasonal mushroom cultivation, just you keep yourself busy for 4 months, you can earn more than 10 lakhs per hectare I'm talking. And if it is a commercial unit, that means if you are going for the round year mushroom cultivation, you can earn more than 100 lakhs per year. And regarding that poisonous mushroom, some mushrooms are poisonous. Not that what we are cultivating, it is possibility that some of mushroom can turn poisonous. It is not like that. All the cultivated mushroom are certainly 100% they're edible one. But when we are going for the hunting of mushroom in the forest areas, there are some mushroom which are poisonous, and there is no clear cut the test or clear-cut distinction. By using that, we can differentiate between the poisonous mushroom and the edible mushroom. But certainly that require that competent mycologist, they can identify which mushroom is poisonous, which is edible. So some mushrooms are poisonous when they are eaten as raw, for example, phytoxylene. Some mushrooms are poisonous if they are taken, if they are eaten in large quantity, for example, varpa. And then some mushrooms are poisonous if we are using them as a raw. If they are boiled and we are going for decanting of that extract, it is not poisonous. For example, Gyromitra. This is one mushroom that causes that number of poisonous cases because it resembles to another mushroom. Its morphologically is very similar to another mushroom that is known as Norcella. That is highly prized mushroom. So because of that close resemblance, many poisonous cases are coming. Some mushroom are poisonous. It is another important point. If it is consumed with alcohol, certainly it's going to be poisonous. Otherwise, it is edible. Some mushrooms are poisonous under all conditions, that is Amanita pallidis. It is a deadly poisonous mushroom. Its consumption means death. And some mushrooms are there which are enjoyed for a long time, or the hallucination effect, psilocybin is there. And Mexico is country where I think all over the world visited that country just to consume this mushroom. It is also occurring in India. So friends, with this, thank you very much. And I think I've gotten another meeting. So, but really, large number of participants are there. And I'm thankful to manage that they also give this opportunity to the Director of Mushroom Research. And I also thank Dr. Atri and Shalja that they took the opportunity, they took the challenge, and we are able to, we are, that organizing this training program. And certainly, it is the demand of the hour. Most of us, we have to switch on to a crop like mushroom, and we have to enter into this type of entrepreneurship. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much for giving us an overview of the world and Indian scenario of mushroom production and what are its benefits and how it can be cultivated and how it is comparable with other field crops and horticulture crops. On behalf of all the participants, I take this opportunity to thank you to spare your valuable time and delivering this very valuable lecture. Now, if you are having these few questions, so we can take, because still there are around 10 minutes. So if any specific questions from any participants, so he can ask.
Dr. Atri.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I have to attend another meeting. Yes, sir. Because I have another meeting.
Hello. 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 Yes. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, myself, Dr. Manu Tyagi from KVK Pathankot, and I wanted to ask one question that if a farmer is going for button mushroom cultivation in bags and it
Not audible.
and
Not audible. Maybe some problem is there on our part or maybe on your part, but you are not audible, ma'am.
Hello.
Not audible, but you actually not audible at all.
Am I audible, sir? Hello. Am I audible, sir? Hello. Hello.
Dr. Atri. Dr. Atri.
Madam, you can keep your question in the chat box.
Yes, sir. Hello.
Their questions in the chat box.
Please, they can send their question in the chat box.
डालेगा तो मर जाएगा, पेट्रोल डालेगा तो खत्म हो जाएगा.
Yes, sir. Hello. Yes, sir. आपकी प्रॉब्लम ऐसा लगता है कुछ?
हाँ? हेलो.
Yes.
चैट चैट वर्क
सर आप सुन सकते हैं मुझे?
Dr. Tri,
हेलो, यस सर।
Dr. Tri,
आपकी आवाज नहीं, आपको आ रही है सर मेरी आवाज?
Sir, is it audible?
प्रॉब्लम है सर।
You can log out and log in, sir.
okay, but you can, Dr. Tri,
यस सर।
I think some net issue is there.
Kindly, all are requested to send their questions in the chat box because our director is having another meeting. So kindly send your question in the chat box.
होते पंचायत मिनिटं तसं अतिथीला
Hello.
So you got a couple of questions here, sir.
Yes.
Which method is best, button mushroom cultivation in bags or in rack system?
That we will deal because in the subsequent lectures there will be class on this aspect.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Dr. Shoet, in the afternoon he will take the classes, 2 classes he is having, that is compost making for cultivation of white button mushroom and what is the crop management, how the crop is managed. So in those classes you can ask this question.
Okay, sir. Also, regarding economics and diseases infestation.
Yeah, economics also one lecture is there. Dr. Sudhir Nepu, he will tell about the economics.
And how to identify the audible and poisonous mushroom.
Director has already told you in the last slide that how to differentiate between this poisonous and edible mushrooms. He was telling in the last slide.
And the special mushroom zones for infrastructure facilities and other employment to youth. Special mushroom zones with infrastructure facilities and offering employment to the youth.
Yeah, mushrooms, because you cultivate any mushroom, there are different opportunities, because this is an indoor crop and there's only no effect of any weather or any wild animals. So anybody anywhere in the country can start mushroom cultivation if he is having little land also. And depending upon the climatic conditions, because mushroom is cultivated from temperate to tropical and subtropical, different regions. So different varieties and different species of different mushrooms are available, and anybody can start from very small scale and then can go to a higher scale.
And what is the nutritional value of oyster mushroom?
Oyster mushroom, it's rich in, it is controlling the cholesterol. It is containing this lovastatin. And all other nutrition and nutritional and medicinal value. Almost all the mushrooms are having all the nutritional and medicinal value, but there is little difference. But all the mushrooms are having all that this nutritional and medicinal value. So whatsoever the mushroom is available in your area, you must start taking that mushroom. Don't wait that you will get that button mushroom or any mushroom, then you will start taking. Because the consumption of mushroom is very low in our country. It is hardly 100 to 150 grams per person per year. First, we have to increase the production in the country because our country is producing hardly 230,000 tons. Director might have told you. So, and whereas in China, they are producing around 340 lakh tons, means 34 million tons. So first we have to increase the production in our country because there are a lot of scope in our country, and agriculture residue which is available around more than 700 million tons. So even if we are using 1 to 2% of that agriculture residue, we can produce 8 to 10 million tons of mushroom in our country. So there are different opportunities in our country, and anybody anywhere in the country can start mushroom cultivation.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
Good
Manu.
morning, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning. This is Dr. Manu Tyagi from KVK Pathankot, and I
Yes,
had
madam.
one query that
Yeah.
I've also even dropped message in my chat box also, that if a
Mhm.
farmer is practicing button mushroom cultivation under rack system, practicing in bags, which one is better considering economic
Bag and this bed system.
in racks or in bags? One should go for rack system.
I told you in the afternoon there are two classes on button mushroom cultivation.
Okay,
In the
sir.
afternoon, Dr. Shwet will be dealing with all these issues in the afternoon, 2 to 5.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you very much. I take this opportunity to thank our director who spared his valuable time and delivered his lecture.